Okay, it says that it says that I'm live. I've got Jason on. Jason says hi, Bubba Moose. I say hi back. If you're here, it's because you wanted part two, and I was betrayed by technology, and I just couldn't let it go. So we're gonna do part two of Only a Dream. That's as much as my Halloween costume is gonna get, even though it's post Halloween. Whew! And, yeah, so only part 2, I was betrayed. Everything was going fine, and then all of a sudden, internet was whatever. So, part 2 only, and I'm all queued up, and I would try not to say the same things that I did for 11 minutes or so in the previous one, but hey, it might happen. So, if you're with me, we're all queued up and Bugs is there if you got something that you want to bring with you as we do at the Batman universe whenever we do live streams. This time I'm bringing some Sour Patch Kids, though again, I won't eat because that would be probably annoying. But Only a Dream Part 2, I'm at 0000. Okay, so I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, play, and then we'll do this thing, and I'm gonna do it quick because 'cause I'm just afraid of technology now, okay? Are we ready? So 3, 2, 1, play. Happy post-Halloween. Yes, the previously. So what we discovered, because I couldn't remember, is that part 1 has the cold opening where there's action and then the title card, and then part 2 has the previously, which is nice. Because not all the time Cartoon Network didn't air both of them all together. And I do remember commenting just with this previously that I would have liked to have seen his relationship with the woman first and then have her romantic relationship just so we could understand his intention and like why was it a betrayal? And here we have him. And then I will comment on Martian Manhunter's powers because I disagreed a bit with the stuff that happened here. Dr. Density, who isn't Doctor? I have a Batman Hersey? Or do you mean jersey? Jason says he has a Batman jersey. Okay, we've got this opening. I've already commented if you've seen part 1 that I'm actually not much of a fan of the animation style when it switches to 3D all of a sudden, though the music is rather beautiful. We should have commented on the layout of the people and who's going first. One of my good friends from college actually, her son, I think he's probably 2 or 3 now, and she texted me, which was a great moment, asking for recommendations of books that could withstand a toddler, but also be superheroes, and so I was giving her some recommendations, and then she ended up getting something that actually had the Black Green Lantern, AKA John Stewart, and she asked, like, "Who is this?" And so I explained who it was, which I thought was an interesting choice just for a kid's book, but I think clearly they were trying to diversify because I don't think there were any females in that book, so as much as they could do with John Stewart, but I was happy that he gets some play because they always go for Hal, I'd say. Oh, okay, so it was Hershey's. So Jason's got some Batman chocolate he's bringing with him. Yeah, you cur. So a cur or just cur in Latin means why, an interrogative, which is rather funny. It's funny, I mean, there's some like, meta commentary on here. There's George Washington. There's some meta comment just yeah, do people talk so much while they're fighting? Which it depends on the hero, of course, but Flash here, absolutely. Yeah, it's so horrifying. But I'm pretty sure children okay, there's that afro moment. I don't understand. When children get evil, their hair grows out of control? Maybe, but that's a very weird moment. But I do know of someone who was doing some nursery duty and another child bit someone el well, yeah, biting. Kids bite all the time. This isn't much of a shock. Curse. Ugh, he froze it. His worst nightmare. Yeah, so if you didn't tune into part 1 or if this is like a shock to you, part 1 was a lot of setup, just getting to know who this Doctor Destiny is. I feel like that's not his name, but it is. John D. And we don't know why he's gonna start going after the Justice League, but we'll find out. And all the League members have fallen asleep, and so now he's attacking them. So very a la Freddy Krueger for sure. Mm. Swedish bikini team. I should look that up if such a thing actually exists. What's interesting about Destiny as a villain is that he doesn't need to assert his villainy, his, like, fear factor, like, just looking at him, really fearful. But he's so calm. He doesn't have much charisma, I would say, and so he's just laying out the facts and saying, like, "This is how it is." It does start to ramp up going throughout, but I just find that really interesting that he's unnerving because of his calm. Jason says that Michael Rosenbaum's Flash was always one of his, favorite of the original Leaguers in this universe. He really likes the episode where he takes on the Rogues and the one where he is in Lex Luthor's body. They're not answering. So, I do have questions about this, just that the hold is too strong for his lady love, his former lady love. Because we know Martian Manhunter is really powerful, and what we see him do later in this episode, I wonder why he is unable to do that, whether that's plot purposes or because it is John Dee's first victim, maybe he went too heavy-handedly in there. Not sure about that. Okay, so this I've got questions on as well. This totally makes sense. Superman being afraid that his powers are going to get out of control. Lois, you're hiding something. Isn't that what all the lady loves say to heroes? But I do wonder, would his I'm gonna have to actually check with, Michael Bailey. Would his eye beams be able to go through his eyelids, given how powerful he is and the structure of his skin? But then I was thinking about John Byrne, and we find out from the Man of Steel run that he shaves using his heat vision and a mirror, and he's able to at least cut the follicle. So I'm not sure about that. This is my home. Okay, so Green Lantern is one that I have a question on, and from yes, good callback to Smallville there, Jason. I had a question about this because the John Stewart one confuses me a bit. And Hornacek, who watched the first part, said, "I assume Green Lantern's dream/fear is about he doesn't feel like he belongs in his original neighborhood anymore now that he has his powers. In his dream, his neighbors speak in gibberish and all the signs are mixed up, indicating that he doesn't fit there anymore," which I felt like was a good word for sure. I can totally see that. I, however, am not sure how it fits with the later part where he starts to say that he has a fear that he's just the ring, like, the ring is his only identity. So I'm not sure how those 2 connect. I totally see both of them, but, I don't know. He's got a nice little actually, his tattoo is so simplistic. USMC, that's it. He doesn't have, like, an eagle or anything like that. That's pretty interesting. Mm. Batman improvising. Oh, Batman. I like this scene with Hawkgirl trying to wake Flash up and then Martian Manhunter coming in. Hmm. So, yeah, Thanagarians aren't. Oh, boy. So, yeah, that was the hint. So I felt like that was a real good lead up to, "Oh, actually, maybe mind control doesn't work on Thanagarians," like she's saying, and then all of a sudden, bam. So now he's actually threatening. He's actually putting hands on a person, which did not happen with really the other ones, and then she's dropped from the lower atmosphere, and this crying for several seconds reminds me of, again, I guess, the Dragon Ball Z story that Donovan told me about the person who cried. I don't know, was it Goku? And he passed out. So she falls into the grave. It's almost like Kill Bill Volume 2, where the nameless character has to beat her way out of there. And hers, Hawk Girl, as much as I love Hawk Girl, I felt like it was the most manufactured, and the only reason we can get on board with her being claustrophobic is because it was told to us in part 1 during the chase with, what was it, Luminous? Is that his name? It's not Luminara, that's a Jedi. Reminds me of Buried. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad they used Hawk Girl because I think we're get a little shipper moment, but Wonder Woman would have been an easy one to use just because you could probably do something with Themyscira being discovered. I don't know, men taking over the island, something. That would have been easy, whereas Hawkgirl, you kind of had to seed some stuff that wasn't there. Oh boy. Metropolis is ablaze. Perry looks to be dead. We don't know though. There's no blood allowed in these cartoons. And then we have a huge beast like Superman. Oh, Jimmy, my pal. Oh no. And then we have an Of Mice and Men reference here where Superman's basically Lenny and Jimmy is the rabbit. Hmm. So this is what I'm talking about. Martian Manhunter can basically rouse everyone else out of their dream state, but not the first victim. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Jason says Wildcard and The Brave and the Bold has the best Justice League shipper moments. Yeah, which is why Wildcard is for sure my favorite episode or pair of episodes. Going back to Smallville where it all began. This cracks me up a bit just because when you open up this case here, you've got this huge Superman guy. Somehow he can fit into the space that he had, the space shuttle, the space rocket that he had when he was a child. Hmm. Let's finish this. Okay, so we got one down. I guess you go for the heavy hitter first, so that's why I went for Superman out of all the others that he could have done. We've got Maria Canals being the computer, which I remember there were several times that Andrea Romano voiced the computer. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Don't drive dazed. Yeah, so this is when we find out about John D, that he was guarding smuggled weapons in LexCorp's warehouse. He was a low-level LexCorp employee, and he was stopped by the Justice League. I don't know if it fits here in the second. I guess it maybe it does. Maybe there's too much info dumping in part 1 and part 2 when Batman is investigating him. That's when we find out a bit more. But there's just so many questions of why is he going after the Justice League? Who is this guy? He seems pretty nice. Why is he, in maximum security? Batman versus Walter Peck. Hmm. So I like this now. Now that I've watched this, I guess for the second time here, how it's been ramping up. It's really been increasing a crescendo, if you will, because like I said, Flash really non-violent, very calm. And then Hawkgirl, he actually lays hands on her and throws her out. So that's like the first time he made a move. And then here, like now he's really stepped up. He's actually showing his violence and his evil. So they did a good job plotting that. And then Green Lantern coming out of it saying he's more than the ring. Which I can't remember, it's been a long time since I've seen the I can't remember what that's called. The one where they go back and there's, like, the what's her name? Katma There's that shipping thing because you get a lot of info on his backstory there, so I'd have to revisit that to see if that was always there. Yeah, Jason says Flash slowing down is one of his favorites, of the scenes there, and it really is, I mean, all for the most part, all of the fears are super legitimate and believable, and I like the black and white aspect of it, reminds me of Pleasantville. But yeah, like he'd number 1, either he'd never be able to stop, or number 2, that he would never be able to relate to somebody because he was always going fast and just how lonely that would be, and I'm pretty sure in Tower of Babel, that was one of the ways. I think it was Tower of Babel. I'm trying to think, like, something happened to him and, like, there was a bomb attached to him and he couldn't stop running. I think that was Tower of Babel. Man. And then we just have Hawkgirl doing whatever this is. So, with Hawkgirl, number 1, she's the only female in this episode. Well, the only female Justice League member, but both females were victims. Hawkgirl basically had no agency, and, the other woman is kind of portrayed poorly because she was, um oh gosh, this song in my head. She was portrayed poorly because, she was waiting for that guy for John in jail, and then like, oh, I've decided to move on. So, kind of like a Dear John letter for servicemen and things like that. So you kind of think poorly about her. So the female characters weren't really dealt with well here. Hawkgirl, like I said, no agency. I mean, she was struggling with the initial fight in part 1, and then we'll see that she doesn't even help herself. She's unable to save herself in this part. So I'm like, really? My favorite. Jason says, if I remember GL Love Triangle on Hearts and Minds, that's what the one is that I was thinking about. Because I remember there are more Green Lanterns involved in there. So I think we get to see his back history. Like I said, I think I said a lot of times in the previous video, I just really need to rewatch this whole series because it was so good. Oh gosh, bathrooms appear in video games and they horrify me. I recently played Control and you would go into bathrooms and luckily nothing popped out. I think there may have been like one villain in there or one NPC bad person that you had to go or you just find a lot of information. But Resident Evil 2 the remake, creepy bathrooms. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I don't like it. When is this? Okay. Yeah, I did have a question about that last time I watched, like, what is the serum that he has? Where did he get that serum? And Batman's humming, of course, constantly, the Frere Jacques, but it was the, "Are you hungry?" Yeah, Jason and I are on the same page that Hawkgirl is the best, and she was also the first to charge. Absolutely. Swinging her big honkin' mace, as Joker says in Hearts and Minds. Or not, in Wild Cards. Now we've got 2 Daikaiju fighting in the streets, and we had a nice little Empire Strikes Back reference with the cord or cable being wrapped around his feet. So This is really interesting to me because I feel like Martian Manhunter should be the one to carry and finish this mission. Oh, I'll get back to that. Green. Yeah, she calls him first. That's a shipper moment right there. I can't get to her. Watch this. Out of the way. Man, this is when you've got to start tracking it. It's all ever since that World War III. I can't the season finale of season 1 that you start little by little tracking these things. So the fact that he goes in there. So back to what I was saying. I would have loved Martian Manhunter to have been the hero to take Destiny down once and for all, just because I felt like I don't know, they're on par with each other just with the mental aspects, but it's Batman. It's Batman who does it. I mean, Batman, we know that Batman is strong mentally, so it makes sense. And I guess we did need a caretaker back on the watchtower, but I don't know. It's like, what a horrifying there was one of those, what are they called? Those screams that movies have. Um, but yeah, I feel like Martian Manhunter does all the dirty work and then Batman's able to like clean up the last bit. And I'm not saying that because I think Batman's a jerk cuz I love him in this show, but just like that's what it looks like to me. He takes him down. That was really cool though, this fight, just because it was almost like Pan's Labyrinth where you don't know what's real and what's not because it kept going back and forth between John D and Destiny with each other. When Batman was punching them, so I like that. Jason says, "This and the Bruce and Diana ship were the start of my shippers." That might be true for me, honestly. Hawkgirl and Green Lantern, that might track to historically, and then Dick and Babs being the number one and coming in second though timeline wise. And I love how Flash almost acts like Plastic Man, where he says something lewd or as lewd as you can get, and then yeah, Hawkgirl knows that it's real. Well, John Dee's now in I don't know, Arkham Asylum, someplace. Whoo! Okay, well, we made it to the end of this episode. There was one point where it started getting a little glitchy and I got really scared, but we made it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, probably Arkham. There was another thing just, again from Hornacek that John Dee is voiced by William Atherton, who is mostly known for his role as Walter Peck in Ghostbusters, which, Jason, you had made a mention of that, Batman versus Walter Peck. And his ESP test here is to guess what is on the back of the cards, which is the same test Bill Murray gives, to, I think, college kids, I think it said. Forgot to expand that whole thing. So overall, I mean, it's not my favorite episode. I do think that it is a spooky episode and it's fun. Again, I just have to say college kids. Okay. Again, I just have to say that all of the fears I think make sense except for Hawk Girls, which just seems to be manufactured. And again, only if they hadn't given us information in part 1 that she has some claustrophobia, we'd be like, what's going on? And hers was the weakest. She didn't do anything. Everyone else had to overcome something to get out of there, but she was saved. She was saved by somebody, which, okay, shipper, but at the same time, Hawkgirl can save herself. So that's a bit of a disappointment that the female characters weren't written as well. While I love Hawkgirl, I'll just say that Wonder Woman I think would have been an easy replacement for that. Something with Themyscira, and she would have been able to fight that as well. So those are some critiques there that I have. I mean, I guess that's really it. Thanks for tuning in. If you came back, I'm sorry about the tech stuff. I guess I'll never be a Twitch or YouTube streaming star because technology just betrays me. But it was fun to revisit Halloween, if only for a bit of on November 5th, is it? And it was funny because when I was streaming last time, I kept saying, hey, be sure to go out and vote because, it's Tuesday and we sure did vote, and we we don't know who our president is, so I guess we'll, yeah, so I think I would just wrap up by saying to love one another, be kind to one another, show empathy, Thanks for tuning in. Continue to find your joy. Justice League is certainly finding my joy. And yeah, thanks for all your support. Thanks to the Batman universe, of course, and Mile High Comics. And I'll catch you guys soon. You can go on my channel. I already have 2 episodes for November up of the regular podcast. And then later in November, there's a YouTube only video that's coming out. That's Donovan and I, and we're going over Cassandra Cain's Batgirl number 19 and 20. So that's something to look forward to. And then next month is December, and that's my 200th episode and 11th anniversary. So I've got 2 stars already covered, and I'm trying for my 3rd or 4th. So we'll see on that. Yes, Jason. Absolutely. Jason says, fly on, Babs lovers. Yeah. Until next time, fly on, Babs lovers. Be kind, love one another, show empathy. Those are the biggest things. That's what Barbara Gordon does. Fly on, Babs lovers.